Welcome back, everybody. Another episode of the Niner Family Huddle podcast. Two-man show tonight. Obviously, Jason's still dealing with his back injury. We're hoping to get him back soon, but tonight we're going to talk the schedule and George Kittle.
Smells like football, baby.
Smells like football, baby.
It does. Between the draft and the schedule coming out, it gets you excited, and we still have so long to go, but you can't help but get excited.
I know the schedule comes out and you start looking at it and like picking out games. Oh, they're going to win this one, lose that one. I want to get tickets to go to that one. And then you realize like we're halfway through May. We have the entire summer to get through and we're still quite a ways out. So yeah, the NFL really does a good job at kind of dominating the whole year-round sports news cycle, at least in America, without actual having like competition going on.
They do a great job at it. That's part of why they've, grown so much and dominate everything, because they are very smart with how they, stay at the forefront.
Yeah, I mean, I think more people tune in to watch the NFL draft than they do like NBA playoff games.
The NBA finals, yeah. I don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised.
I don't know either. I wouldn't be surprised either. Okay, so the big news that came out since last time we talked was George Kittle's new contract. I should have pulled it up, but it was like 4 years, 70 something $million. I was just really happy that I'm really hoping he can retire a Niner. He deserves it. Like Travis Kelce's gonna retire a Chief. He's going to the Hall of Fame. I would love to see the same thing for George. I would say the same thing about him as I would Joe Staley, though. Need to get him a ring before he finally hangs it up. He needs to be a career Niner and get a ring. So I was really happy that they got the deal done, and that they got it done it was April when they got it done. So we're not like fighting all off season. There's no drama. What'd you think of, how excited are you about George Kittle probably retiring a Niner?
Yeah, I'm very excited. I mean, you say you don't have the numbers in front of you. I don't care what the numbers are. Pay him.
I know.
He's worth it, because I feel like he's worth so much more to the team than just what he does on the field, which even that is a lot, right? Like if you just judged him on production and on-field performance, he is a top tight end in the league, I mean,
number one. I'll die on that hill. He's been number one since 2019 as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I think number 1, too. Of course, I'm a biased Niners fan, but I think number 1, too. But I don't think it's even arguable that he's top 3 or definitely top 5, right? So, like, just him as a player, but the fact that he is, I feel like, just such a good culture setter, I mean, he seems like he's a wonderful teammate to the other guys. He's a leader. He's a captain. He has been for years now. He's always having a good time, like it just feels like he's the kind of guy you want around. Even if his production starts to dip, you still want that guy on your team, getting your other guys fired up. I feel like it's worth every penny that whatever those numbers are that they gave him. I think you're right. I think it was like around 70 million over 4 years. And yes, I'm very, very happy that he could retire a Niner. I hope he does. I hope that he gets to play this contract out, or at least close to it. I mean, he had 1 year left, right? And then he did a 4-year extension. So it's 5 more years if he wants it, if he holds up.
The way I understand it, the way Flory always talks about it, Mike Flory always says there's no such thing as a contract extension. When a player signs a new deal, that final year gets ripped up and then the new deal starts. So there isn't like, hey, you've got to do the 1 more year, then your new deal starts. I think that's a kind of a common misconception in the NFL. So I think he's got, this upcoming season will be year 1, and he's got 3 more after that, 4 in total. So and then quick math, I think it was $76.4 million, because he's making 19.1. He's the highest paid tight end over Trey McBride by $100,000 a year.
Good.
And it's still a bargain.
Yeah.
Because
Uh,
like, go ahead.
well, he's two players in one. He's a receiver and he's a blocker. Like he's a true, well-rounded tight end. Like I mean, I know Trey McBride is really good, but I think of him more as a receiver. Now, maybe I'm not giving him credit. I'm not watching enough Cardinals games when they're not playing the Niners to see how good of a blocker he is. He might be a great blocker, right? But I don't feel like there's that many other dual threat tight ends that you can say are like
Not at the level of George.
no, like I feel like you would grade him as an A in both categories, and I don't know if you could say that about any other tight end in the league.
No, this is what I've always said about like Travis Kelsey is like as a receiver, 10 out of 10. As a
Yeah,
blocker, like 5 out of 10. With George, it's like as a receiver, 9.5 out of 10. As a blocker, 10 out of 10. So who's the better player?
right.
Well, if you average the scores, George is better. Um, yeah, Trey McBride, I think he's a receiver. Brock Bowers came on receiver. The only guy who I think is kind of like George, but just not as good, is Mark Andrews.
Hmm.
Good blocker, good receiver, but George is just so explosive.
Well,
Like
probably the other Iowa guys are pretty good at both that have come out because they're in the same system.
um, T.J. Hawkinson.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, he was a top 10 pick, right? But even he's like a receiver type.
yeah,
He's not like mowing guys down. Like George is like 1-on-1 with 260-pound edge rushers and just like pancaking linebackers. Like guys will block linebackers and move them around. And, to block a guy, all you got to do is not let him get the tackle, really. But George is like creating running lanes. He's on a different level. He's a Hall of Famer. He's gonna go down, in my opinion, as one of the best tight ends ever. And it's interesting too because let me ask you this: who do you think is more impactful to the 49ers, assuming both guys are healthy and playing? Brandon Ayuk or George Kittle?
George Kittle. I feel like
George,
it's the answer.
it's an easy answer. Yet because Brandon plays wide receiver, he's a $30 million a year player. Who is more impactful, Brandon Ayuk or Fred Warner?
I think Fred, but I mean I don't know how much of that is just me loving that he's the best linebacker in the league.
I think it's Fred easy. Again, Brandon's a $30 million a year player because of his position, not because of his skill set. No offense, Brandon. So it's almost like if you're gonna build a team, pay the non-premier positions. Like, who's the more impactful player? I'm sorry to pick on Brandon, but Brandon Ayuk or Christian McCaffrey?
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, Christian is as a top paid tight running back is like I think right now he's at like 16, or I guess he got a new deal, so maybe he's a sub $20 million a year player. So is George, so is Fred. So pay the non-premium positions, linebacker, tight end. This is what the Chiefs have done for a long time. They're paying Travis Kelsey. They did pay Tyreek Hill a little bit, but then traded him, and then let the premier guys kind of move on, like wide receivers. Now,
except
then
ex, except for left tackle.
yeah,
You need
that's the thing is then you get into like left tackle. It's like okay, but or like Nick Bosa, like they're paying him a lot of money. He's really good, but that one you could probably debate. I don't know, but it's an interesting conversation. Maybe to team build, you don't pay the premium positions, maybe one or two, quarterback, obviously, if you've got one, and then you pay the non premium positions. What's crazy is like top wide receivers will make 30 to 35 million a year. Yet the top corners whose job it is to guard those guys are like 20 to 25 a year, and they're just barely getting there.
mm-hmm.
So it's an interesting conversation about team building, but happy George is around, and I'm hoping he has another big year next year, and I expect him to. I mean, he could be target numero uno for the Niners next year. He could lead the team in targets easy.
Yeah. So you were saying something about you think he'll go down as one of the best tight ends ever. I think he has a shot at that. We might have even talked about this like a while ago, but like how many more years do you think he needs to be the player that he has been to assure himself a spot in Canton?
Um, one.
You think that's it? You think he has one more year like last
I
season?
think he's a Hall of Famer right now. Now, if you now you use the word assure, right now it's like people could kind of debate it. If he goes out and he's the first team All Pro next year, who's going to say George Kittle isn't a Hall of Famer other than Seahawk fans?
Well, what sucks is like he should have been last year, and everybody got enamored with Brock Bowers' numbers. But yeah,
Yeah, so I mean, one, I would say if he does it two, if he has, even if he's second team All Pro for the next 2 years, I don't know how he could be denied. I think
well,
you're flirting with first ballot at that point.
by then he's a 10-year player. Like I know it shouldn't be about the years of service, but that does matter. Somebody who's done it, for a long period of time. So you
We
get
know it matters because we heard it about Patrick Willis forever. Oh,
right,
didn't play long enough. Whatever, dude.
yeah. So you get to a decade of playing in the NFL, and you've been a really good or great player for pretty much that entire time. Yeah, I don't see. I think he's 2 years away of similar production that he's had over the last, call it 5 years. If he has 2 more years like he's had the last five, I think he's like a no doubt Hall of Famer.
What's crazy is I feel like I said it earlier. I think he's been the best tight end since 2019. I don't feel like he gets enough credit for what he did in 2018, his sophomore season, when he set the NFL record in receiving yards. So it's like, man, he's been at the top of the game for 6 seasons now, going on 7. And like, if you're the best player in the league at your position for that long, even just 5 years, like that's Hall of Fame discussion at least.
I think the main reason why is because he doesn't score a ton of touchdowns. And I think that kind of distorts the view. Like because I mean, let's face it, unless it's your favorite team, the way that most people follow football players is through fantasy football. And so if they're not putting up the, gaudy numbers, then it's kind of like, oh yeah, he's good, but he's not, great. So I feel like, he gets underappreciated because of not being a double digit touchdown scorer, on a regular basis.
Yeah, I'd be curious to look at his stats because I feel like he's scored more or at least matched his career. Like since Brock Purdy's become quarterback, I bet he's either scored or outscored his career touchdowns that he had prior to that.
So
If
you're
that
saying
makes sense.
you're saying it's Jimmy's fault that he wasn't getting him the ball in the end zone more.
Jimmy, all the quarterbacks prior to that, maybe even Kyle. Why isn't Kyle calling plays for him in the red zone? And I don't know. I mean, most of George Kittle's touchdowns are like 25 plus yards out. He doesn't catch like 3 yard touchdown passes
That's true.
like Travis Kelsey. Just kind of find a little soft spot. And Patrick just fires it in there.
Yeah,
George doesn't do that,
you're right.
and he can. So I don't know why. But I do think you're right. The touchdown production is interesting. You know what kind of hurts George a little bit too is he's played in 2 Super Bowls and he hasn't done much in either. He doesn't have like that playoff game where he had like 11 catches, 135 yards, 2 touchdowns or something. He has games like that, but not postseason games.
You're right. You're right. And he'll make a big play, but not necessarily have a big game.
He'll finish a game with like 3 catches for 60 yards. And that's like 3 20-yard catches. Those are big catches, but yeah, he doesn't have that like I can think of signature plays, I can think of signature games, but if I asked you to think of a signature postseason George Kittle moment, it's
Well,
like,
I moment. I know what I think it is.
what is it?
It's the one against the Cowboys, the one that we went to where he had that bobble catch over the middle,
Yeah.
and like they were not doing anything on offense that day, and that was maybe the longest, biggest play of the game, and it was like crucial point, crucial conversion, and I remember thinking, "Damn, he's clutch." Why don't you go to him more? Where's that been?
Yeah, that kind of sparked the offense, and they scored, and they ended up winning that game. Yeah, that would definitely be the one. We need to get Kittle some more big time postseason plays and games. Hopefully next season. Before I jump into the schedule, speaking of signature plays or games, Today is Frank Gore's birthday.
Yeah.
So I wanted to wish Frank Gore a happy birthday and also just ask you this. What is your favorite Frank Gore, maybe top moment or two, a game, just something you love from a Frank Gore? To me, it was the 200-yard game that we went and saw against the Seahawks. Like seeing that in person, wow.
So, gosh, that is such a hard question. I feel like I've got too many good, fond Frank memories, and I love the guy. Like he's, all-time Niner in my opinion. Um, so I'm going to give you a few things for Frank because I can't help myself.
I know.
Moment, I love when they came back on the Falcons in the NFC Championship game to go to the Super Bowl, and he
He
started
started
doing
doing the dirty bird.
the bird, and there was like but
Like, nah.
yeah,
I love that moment too.
just yeah, as a moment, I love that. Um, Game, it's got to be not the Seahawk game we went to, even though that one was great. It's got to be the Seahawk game where he had an 80-yard and a 79-yard run in the same game. I've never seen another running back do that. I'm sure Barry Sanders probably did at some point because he was incredible. But to know, like, it was just nuts because you hardly ever see long runs like that. And then he did two in one game, and I was just like, this dude is crazy.
I
Um,
know, and if I remember right, he didn't score on either one, huh?
no, I think he scored on both. I know he scored on the 80-yard one. I don't remember about the 79 for sure.
Maybe I'm thinking of the Seahawks game that we went to because he did break a couple big runs in that one. You're not going to get 200 yards without breaking some big runs,
He had
but he
he
got caught a couple times.
Yeah, that game he never had a big long one, but he consistently had like 20, 30-yard runs, and he was doing that multiple times. That yeah, I remember that because it was like there hasn't been that big play, but you look up at the scoreboard and you see over 200 yards. You're like, dude, he's just consistently dominating.
Yeah,
Uh,
it was like 8 yards were like his short, 7, 8 yards were his short runs that day. It felt like.
and my favorite Frank Gore season was when he was, I want to say it was his second year, and because I thought he had a chance to be all right, I took him like in a mid round in a fantasy draft, and um, he went on to, that was his best year, that he had like 1,600 yards rushing. That was the year he was running behind Larry Allen. And yeah, I also had LaDainian Tomlinson that year, and that was the year that he scored like, 300.
28 touchdowns or something.
But but to pair him with Frank Gore getting 1,600 yards and getting in the end zone a fair amount himself. But I just remember like Frank Gore won me the league that year because he was. I mean, everybody knew LT was going to be great, and yeah, he had something to say about it with all that production. But I was like, yeah, my mid round pick of Frank Gore paid off with 1,600 yards, and yeah, so lots of good Frank memories, and I just love the guy.
I'm happy he's still with the organization helping out too, like helping John and Kyle like scout.
Yep.
Um, yeah, I had Frank Gore on my fantasy teams for like 6 or 7 straight years.
Yep.
Because I have
Yeah.
a couple teams, and on one of my teams, I always had Frank Gore.
Yep.
Even post Niner career, I still need this guy.
Even Jets Frank Gore, you were still adding him, huh?
Maybe not Jets, but Colts Frank Gore. I definitely had Colts Frank Gore on 1 or 2 teams.
Well,
Um,
thanks for all the.
Happy birthday, Frank. All right, let's take a look at this schedule. Um, Preseason games, whatever. Broncos, Raiders, Chargers. The obligatory Raider game. See some fights there.
For sure.
Um, the first thing that jumped out to me when I saw this was starting and ending this season with the Seahawks is interesting.
That is funny. Yeah. Crazy that they're going to have that big of a gap.
What I don't see is, oh, okay. There's a little down here. It says home and away. Okay, so we know which home and away. Okay, so they're week 1 at the Seahawks, September 7th, afternoon game on Fox. I love it because Seahawk fans have been in my mentions on the on some of the TikTok videos I post, and I would love to. One of the guys commented and he was just saying Niners suck, whatever. And I was like, well, if this is true, it'd be a damn shame if the Seahawks went and lost to the Niners at all this point, even
Mm.
going 1-1. I mean, you guys got the GOAT Sam Darnold now apparently, and apparently the Seahawks are all the way back. So if they go out and lose week 1 to the Niners, I'm going to be going back to some of my old videos and finding some of those comments for sure.
Yeah, I think Seahawk fans are going to be in for a little bit of a disappointing season, but we'll see.
Uh, I've seen people posting projections for divisions and who's going to win, like ranking the divisions. And I've seen the Seahawks keep coming in fourth place in the NFC West, and Seahawk fans are like, they they're struggling to understand why. They think they've just got this like NFC contender. I don't get it.
I mean, I feel like the smart money would be on the Rams. Um,
The
and
favorites are the Niners, believe it or not.
great. I love it. But yeah, I feel like just based on last year and they added Devontae and, still have a good coaching staff, young core, all that stuff. So I feel like that would be the smart money. And then I know there's some, sneaky promise or whatever for the Cardinals, and they've seemed like they've been headed in the right direction. I'll tell you what I'm not sure. So I am literally seeing this for the first time, which I think that's kind of cool to do that live with you. I don't love the late buy, but I suppose if they are contending, then that could be really good to give them, a chance to heal up, catch their breath, whatever, and then have like a 4-game slate before the postseason.
One, two, three, four.
I there's 5 primetime games I counted, and it's like for all the people that think that the Niners are toast, the window's closed, fell off, whatever. It's like league obviously doesn't think so. They're still featuring them on primetime quite a bit.
The Niners draw ratings. The NFL knows that.
Yeah,
Shanahan's polarizing. Brock Purdy's polarizing. This team has a massive fan base. I would have been shocked, honestly, if they had 4 or less.
yeah,
5. I feel like they've had 5 primetime games a season for years now.
I agree. Basically since 2019, I think.
Yeah, or at least after, because I'd have to go back and look at that schedule because the Niners did kind of come out of nowhere a little bit in that season. So
They,
maybe the
they
NFL wasn't ready for it and they didn't have them in the 5. But definitely since then, it's been every year.
Well, I think 6 is the max that you can have.
Mm-hmm.
And what's interesting is if Seahawk fans' dreams come true, that they're, vying for a playoff spot, that last week could get flexed into a potential primetime game as well.
Definitely. Yeah, if that, man, remember 2019 Niners Seahawks from the number 1 seed in the division win? That was sick. Dre Greenlaw going full legend.
That was awesome. And this one will be the home game, right? So that's a cool way to finish the year at home against the division rival, hopefully to punch your ticket to the postseason.
Okay, so we'll make our season predictions like right before the season, like we've done the last couple years, where I make the notes. But let's just do quick predictions right here.
Well, I was going to say,
Winner,
look at this. Like we already knew it was going to be an easy schedule. I know, we can't pick 17-0. That never happens. But so, like, what, 16-1, 15-2? What do you think?
I'll let you know if I see a loss. Right now, I'm not seeing it. What do you think? Week 1 Seahawks.
I
Do they
mean,
win that game?
I think so, but I'm not high on the Seahawks. So, yeah, I'm going to say yes.
I think they're going to win that game too. We'll see. Like if Sam Darnold is just the Sam, if the Sam Darnold we saw in Minnesota is just the player that he is now, which I'm very skeptical of that, then at Seahawks is always tough. They could win that game. But if Sam Darnold regresses even a little bit, which I expect, Niners are winning that game.
So the hard thing to keep in mind here, like draft is done and whatever, we don't know how many rookies are going to be starting. Young guys. Like there's obviously going to be some learning curve, but I also am excited about them coming out fired up, young and hungry, right?
Yeah.
So we could like I could totally see them winning their first two games on the road and then coming home and having a stinker in their home opener against the Cardinals.
Oh man, yeah, yeah, you're right.
But
Um,
I'm not gonna say like I'm not here to tell you that they're definitely gonna lose. I just feel like that would be a very Niner thing to do.
um, yeah, you're absolutely right. I saw on Twitter that the Niners don't play any teams this season coming off of a bye.
Oh,
Remember last year they played like six.
yeah, right. That's cool.
uh, so they were at a major rest disadvantage last season, including a couple teams coming off Thursday night games. So they even just had a couple extra days. I don't know about that, but I know there's no bye. So anyway, Saints week 2 at Saints. Um, I'm gonna say the Niners are 2-0 at this point.
I would agree.
Tyler Shuck at quarterback does not scare me. Week 3 though,
you don't you don't
uh,
you don't think the Saints are gonna trade for one of those Cleveland quarterbacks? Not
uh,
not Deshaun Watson and probably not the rookies. So it would be Flacco or Pickett.
even if they did, that changes absolutely not. I know. I don't think they would. I think they're gonna go with Shuck. They drafted Shuck in the second round. Might as well see what you got.
Seems like it's going to be a rebuilding year for them, but yeah, I don't follow them all that close to know for sure.
Yeah, I could see the Saints drafting in the top 5 next year. Sorry, Saints fan. Um, Cardinals week 3.
I mean,
Yeah, I could see a stinker there.
I would like to think that it's the home opener and they're coming out fired up, and coming off of two straight victories on the road that like things are grooving and whatever. So I don't want to pick a loss, but I feel like the Cardinals always play them really tough, especially in the Niners' house. Like it seems like they give them even better games when the Cardinals are on the road. So I think it's what I think that's probably a safer game than others to pick as a loss, and to think that they would be 2-1 after 3 weeks, however it shakes out, seems reasonable.
Yeah, I'll agree with you. As of right now, I'll predict an L that week. The Cardinals, I liked what the Cardinals did in the offseason. They had a good draft, I thought. Kyler seems to give the Niners fits, and like you said, I think they're going in the right direction. So they should be a tough out this year. So I'll say they're 2-1 going into another home game. Jaguars
W.
W. Yeah, this is bounce back, and this has got like would the Niners beat the Jaguars a couple years ago, like 37-7 or 30-7?
Yeah,
This has got that written all over it.
yeah, for sure.
You know what would be interesting just thinking about this is we'll get to see Travis Hunter, see what he's all about.
Oh yeah.
Is he catching balls? Is he guarding wide receivers? Is he doing a little bit of both? Or has he already gotten hurt from playing too many reps? We'll
Hopefully.
see. Yeah, I hope not. I would like to see him. I want to see if he can guard Ricky or see Demo like strap him up and get a pick or something. But yeah, bounce back win here. Trevor Lawrence does absolutely nothing for me.
Man, I'm just realizing that 6 of their first 9 games are on the road, and 7 of their first 10. No, 7 of their first 11. Sorry. 7 of their first 11. Like that's one kind of crazy, but two kind of awesome if you can keep your record, in good shape to get that all done on the road early and then have a home heavy schedule to finish. Like that's really cool.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. You got the bye week to rest, and then 3 or 4 at home.
Yeah, including the last two.
Yeah, that, and then the home playoff games after that when they have the number 1 seed.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
first game on primetime Rams.
and I also love that they're getting their Thursday night game done early in the season, and they only have one. Like, get it out of the
Oh, I
way.
know. Whoops. Last year they had two. That was only a handful of teams each year get two, and the Niners were one last year. So let's see. Oh, it's
I
at Levi's South. What were
Yep.
you saying?
I don't have a great feeling. Just like I don't know. I just feel like it's going to be early in the season, and especially if they're 3-1 at that point, they'll be going in there. I think expecting to win, and I think the Rams are better when they feel like they're underdogs, if you will. And I also
Yeah,
think that do what they can to reverse the whole Levi South thing. Like I think they hate that. So
the Rams could sweep the Niners. It's still Levi's South until you get a fan base in there.
that's true. But yeah, I think that one is a likely L as well, unfortunately, for me.
Yeah. Plus, we know for whatever reason, Shanahan's most of Shanahan's Niner teams start slow. There was 2019 when they were 8-0, but other than that,
The one thing that could change that, obviously, I mean, we can't predict. We're assuming everybody's basically at full health or mostly healthy, but I feel like the Rams are completely different without Stafford. And so if they're going up against Jimmy G, then I'm predicting a W on that October 2nd game.
I've
But
been wanting the Niners to face Jimmy G since he left so badly. Like when he was a Raider, we played the Raiders in the preseason and he did, or no, it was joint practices. And I was like, oh, I cannot wait for these practice reports. But then he was hurt and he didn't practice at all. And then when we played the
shocking.
Raiders, he wasn't available either. And now he's been in the division now, but obviously he's a backup. So I never wish for injuries, but man, I would love to see Jimmy G get in there against the Niners.
I mean, I know Stafford is known for being a tough guy, and yeah, I don't wish for injuries either. I have a hard time seeing him hold up for the entire season. So I think you might get your wish this year. I don't know if it'll be that game or if it'll be the one that comes a little bit later, but I think you might get to see Jimmy versus the Niners at some point.
We'll see. Um, all right, week 6. Let's see, away game at Bucks. So they played the Bucks in Tampa Bay last year, beat them. That was honestly the best win of their season last year because they didn't have very many wins, and the teams they did beat were not very good, but they did beat a pretty good Bucks team. So
I felt
we'll
like
see if they can do it again.
the win over the Cowboys was pretty good too.
Cowboys finished drafted 12th, right behind the Niners, though.
No, I know. I'm just saying, in terms of a good win, like
I know that's kind of the problem though. If the Cowboys, when they draft 12th, is your second best win, you obviously didn't have a very good season.
yeah. So I want to pick them to win this one, but the thing that scares me is the 10 a.m. start time, and I know they kind of struggle. It's probably still going to be hot, down there in Tampa this early in the season, and that could be a problem for them. So I just see this one being challenging, but I think I'm going to still pick a win just because I'm not sure if the Bucks are going to be as good as they were last year after losing Cohen. So we'll see.
Hmm. Yeah, that's a good point. I will say, unfortunately, the Niners, although they will have a little extra time because they're coming off Thursday,
Mm-hmm.
just for the sake of being different, I'll say they lose this game
I
and
think
they
that's
they fall to 3-3.
Yeah, I think I have no problem with you saying that. And like you talked about, slow starts. And it's like, well, we've had 6 games and 4 have been on the road and we're 3-3. Let's heat it up and get going here.
Well, yeah, let's get back on track and let's hammer this mediocre Falcons team
Yeah, heck,
at home Sunday. Well, I guess I don't know if it's Sunday. Well, it is because 7 days after the 12th. So,
yeah. NBC, that's a Sunday game.
yep, you're right. So, Sunday night football against the Falcons. We'll get to see Michael Penix. That'll be fun, especially
Yeah.
for the Geis if they're watching. They like Michael Penix as a UW fans.
it would. I don't know if they're UW fans anymore, just so you know. But
I know it's true, but I know they're probably still partial to Penix.
for sure, how could you not be? But I thought you were going to say it'd be fun to see Penix, especially for the Niners defense. But anyways, we'll see.
Hey, he can spin it. He's got a good arm. He's accurate.
That's true.
I just don't necessarily trust their like coaching staff to get the most out of him. I almost wonder if Penix is going to be a guy who's throughout his rookie contract, he's kind of up and down, and people are like kind of down on him by the end of his deal. And maybe the Falcons don't pick it up and their coaching staff gets fired. And then he goes to a different team and gets a good coach, and it's like, whoa, this guy's pretty damn good, actually. I wouldn't be surprised. The Falcons are just to me a low key like dysfunctional organization. They do a lot of really stupid shit.
Hmm.
I mean, they have a coach's son prank calling players getting drafted. It's like, come on, man, button it up over there, would you?
Yeah, I'm going W on that.
Yeah, 4-3 as
For
we
me,
head into the revenge game for D'Amico.
so for me that's 5-2 because I did pick him to beat the
Oh
Bucks.
yeah, you're right.
And but yeah, you keep track of yours. I'll keep track of mine. I think I think they're going to beat the Texans. Like this is, for one, I think the Texans are overrated. I, I
Mm-hmm.
I I feel like they're not as good as their record seems, and I think they get a lot of extra love because of Stroud and how good he was as a rookie. I think they're going to be a good team, and I see this being like a tough game. But I just feel like I don't know. I feel like the Niners are going to be better, and they're going to beat them, and Shanahan will continue his general dominance over his former, you know, assistant coaches.
It sucks that we have to say it. You have to say general because last year he lost to some of his Lafleur, uh, Sean McVay. He even lost to friggin' McDaniels in
Yep,
Miami. So
beat McDaniel the first time they played him, and by then the team was a shell of itself. But yeah, I hear you. Like last year, definitely there was a hit to that reputation.
definitely took a hit to that rep. We'll hopefully, and honestly, if he beat D'Amico, that would be worth a lot more than losing to McDaniels. Um, I'm having a hard time with this one. It is an early start, but middle of the country, not all the way to the East Coast. CJ Stroud, I like. They've got the wide receiver who's really, really good, but then they drafted a couple of Iowa State rookies. Man, this is a toss up. This could be a 1.5 point spread here.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say, because honestly, if I'm looking at the games after this, if I say they win this game, I see quite the winning streak coming.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm picking too. I
Yeah,
I think they're going to get hot after they lose to the Rams. I think that'll be their wake up call. I think that the Bucks game will be a tough one, and it won't be what you want to see. Like it's going to be like a 20-16 game or something like that. Not like sweat it out and they don't look good, but they somehow pull it out. And I think then they're just going to start to hit their stride. And I think that's where I'm going with it. But not that I'm trying to influence you.
yeah. I'll say the Niners win. I'll take Shaney over D'Amico, and I hope Brock balls and people can kind of cool it on the CJ Stroud hype and see that Brock is simply the better player.
They better not lose to the Giants on my birthday.
Oh my gosh, that would be sad. That would make me lose a lot of faith in this season. Um,
But
yeah, I mean the
also
Giants haven't been good for so long.
totally possible because you know that there's going to be a game or two at least that they just inexplicably lose when it's like you are clearly the better team and there's no way that you should lose this game and you do.
Gosh, you're right. They do that even when the teams are good. There's like, remember in 2019, like the Super Bowl run, like they just lost to the Falcons that year for no reason.
The crappy Falcons, yeah.
Yeah, like what's the coach's name? Who's the coach of the Washington right now? The
Um
coordinator, D coordinator,
yeah.
Quinn. Yeah, like he got fired that year because they were so bad. but they beat the Niners by
I'm
1 inch.
I'm still gonna pick the Niners to win, though. I don't think they're gonna lose to the Giants.
No, if they do throw a game away, it won't be this one. Dayball stinks. Even if the boogeyman is starting at quarterback for the Giants, I'm still taking the Niners.
So I think they will also beat the Jimmy G led Rams on November 9th. I'm giving them a W there. Then they're going to get revenge for their October 2nd loss.
Yeah, Shanahan can't get swept by McVay. So yeah, they're gonna win this game. That's funny that you're predicting Jimmy's gonna be in there. We'll see. Either way, I'm taking the Niners winning this game. They're gonna split with the Rams.
So the next one though has me worried, and that might be where my win streak comes to an end. But I also don't know, like, where's Kyler going to be at that point of the season? It feels like he always starts hot, and he's like in discussion for MVP candidate or All Pro in the first part of the season, and then he either gets hurt or he just tails off. And maybe this is the year that he bucks that trend. But so part of me is like, ooh, that's going to be a tough one. They might get beat both times by the Cardinals, but then part of me is also like, that might be around the time that a new Call of Duty comes out or something, and he's distracted. So
That is right on time. As a Call of Duty player, mid-November is right in Call of Duty's range. And yeah, Kyler does. He seems like he's always dealing with an ankle injury or something. I'll say the Niners split with the Cardinals and the Rams, and they're winning this game. So I've got them losing 1, 2, 3. So they're 8-3. I got them at 8-3 right now. Man,
I got them at 9-2, which shows my faith in them. And then I'm gonna keep it rolling because I'm gonna pick them to win that Cardinal game too, and I'm gonna keep it rolling and say they beat the Panthers too on Monday Night Football at home. I just don't. I don't think that the Panthers have enough, and they're coming across the country, and it's going to be a really late game for them. I'm going Panthers.
you're going Panthers. You mean
I'm
Niners?
I'm going Niners over Panthers.
Yeah,
Sorry.
no, I agree. This Panthers team is gonna stink. Even though Bryce Young kind of started playing well toward the end of last season, the Panthers, they could be a top 5 drafting team next year. That certainly wouldn't surprise me.
So I've got the Niners at 10-2 right now. Like, I'm really keeping the faith, but I'm gonna actually say that this Cleveland game is one of the games that they throw away. That we
Oh,
that
you
that.
you took it from me.
Oh yeah. Well, sorry, but I just feel like they're still going to have a good defense, and that's going to be tough. And I also think it'll be a bit of a letdown. I think going into the bye week, they'll maybe fall asleep at the switch, and they might be really dinged up by now. And I can just
They
see on
could be tired for sure.
yeah, I could see at the end of the game on the broadcast. Oh, this Niners team will be all right. They got the bye next week. They'll rebound from this loss. I could just hear that narrative right now.
Oh
So
yeah, I can hear Mark Schlereth right now.
yeah, yeah.
So they've got the bye, and then like the Titans after, who obviously were drafting 1 overall. They're not very good. So yeah, I could totally hear that. I was gonna do the exact same thing. This is the game that the Niners throw away. Maybe it's even Shador Stander's first career start, and he gets a big win, and Cleveland's all hyped up, and they beat a 9-3 Niner team or something like that.
I just feel like it's going to be similar to the game that they lost to the Browns a couple years ago. It's going to be an ugly day. Late November. Could be windy. I just don't see it.
Jake
Like,
Moody misses the game-winning kick.
I don't think they'll get that opportunity, but probably another like low scoring game if I had to pick it. And it'll just be a frustrating watch. Like, what happened to this team that's just ripped off 6 straight wins or whatever it is.
Yeah, that would suck because I really don't want to believe that my quarterback just can't play in bad weather. And if that Cleveland game is rainy and windy and he just plays like crap and they lose, it's like, I'm just going to have to accept this at some point. But I
But
really don't want to.
now that you bring that point up, like, that's probably the only game you're looking at. I mean, of course, they can get bad weather in some home games, but the odds are that the weather will be better. Like they might get a really rainy game or really windy game, but they don't have obvious bad weather games like they did last year, like Buffalo late in the season, Green Bay late in the
Yeah,
like.
yeah,
I feel like that does help uh, Mr. Brock.
yeah. It's interesting. The last two games of the season, you at home, late December to January, you could definitely get some cold temperatures in the Bay Area, but we're not. It's not getting snowed on.
Yeah, that's
So,
nothing compared to what it could be.
so I'll go the opposite of you. I'll say they barely squeak out a win over this crappy Browns team. They maintain their momentum into the bye week. They exhale, and then they come out and lose to rookie quarterback Cam Ward and the Tennessee Titans.
Wow.
That's
See,
the game that they just throw away. And it's like, man, you had 2 weeks to prepare for this sorry ass team, and you threw it away. You're competing for the number one seed, and you threw it away. Good job, guys.
I like my version way better than yours. I feel like that would be heartening. Like I could understand after a long win streak having a letdown game, trap game, whatever you want to call it, and lose to the Browns on the road. If they lose to the freaking Titans at home after a bye week, like
Oh, we're gonna be ripping them apart on this show.
that's just crushing. Like yeah. I so I'm of course going to pick them to beat the Titans, and so now we both have them at 11-3, just not the same way, right?
Yes. Yeah, but that's gonna be the game that lights the fire under their ass, and they're like, all right, let's finish this year off strong. And they're gonna go beat the Colts, the Daniel Jones led Colts, because Anthony Richardson will have been long benched by now.
So I don't know what to make of the Colts. I mean, I could see that being a sneaky tough game for them, but I don't know.
Yeah, the Colts drafted 16th, which is right in the middle, and I wouldn't be surprised if they draft 16th again, just right in the middle.
So I'm gonna say that they lose to the Colts. Just gonna be another one of those games that they
In
drop.
prime time. Ouch. Monday
Yeah,
night.
yeah. I mean, honestly, here's for me. I'm picking between them losing to either the Colts or the Bears, and I feel like the Bears are probably going to be a more exciting team and the team that people are going to have more hype around. So I could totally see them losing to the Bears, and shoot, maybe they lose both. I don't know, but I'm just going to lean towards the Colts because it's on the road, and yeah, it's going to be another one of those. What the hell? Why'd you guys lose this game?
Yep. Yep. I could see it. Um, Bears. I'm kind of going back and forth on the Bear game because I kind of feel like if I haven't beat the Bears and the Seahawks like I want to, my record is going to be way too good. They're going to be like 14-3 or something. It's just not going to happen. So I got to like throw some losses in here. So I'll just say, what's, gosh, now I'm drawing a blank on names. What's the Bears' new head coach, the coordinator for the Lions? What's his name? Yeah, I'll say Ben Johnson has got this totally revamped offense with Caleb Williams cooking as they get later in the season. And the Niners lose like a shootout at home on Sunday Night Football, like 31-30 or something, and the Bears get that one.
So I'm gonna say to build off of my other one, they drop this Colts game. They're pissed off, they're disappointed, and so they come out just looking great. And I don't know how much the Bears will be playing for at this point of the season. So I'm not gonna say that like they stomp them, but I think they're gonna come out on Sunday Night Football at home and have one of their games where they look really good. Um, and so I'll have them, beating the Bears, and then that makes them 12-4 with my record.
So I'm going to pick them to beat the Seahawks to end the season. So they're going to sweep the Seahawks and then they're going to split with the Rams and Cardinals is my prediction. What I just realized is I just picked them to go 2-2 after the bye, which would be pretty disappointing.
Well, I'm also going to pick them to go 2-2 after the bye because I don't think they're going to be playing for anything in that last game. So I think they're going to rest a bunch and lose at home to the Seahawks, kind of like they did against the Rams 2 years ago.
Yeah.
They're I'm thinking they're going to have the division wrapped up because, like I said, I'll have them at 12-4. I don't think any of the other teams in the division are going to be there at that point of the season, and I think they're going to rest guys in that last game, and the Seahawks will sneak out a feel-good victory to end their season and not go to the playoffs.
To slide in at 8 and 9 and draft 16th. Um, do you think the Niners could be pushing for the 1 seed though and play that game? Because 12-4 is not going to like have the 1 seed locked up, or are they 2 or 3 games behind? Like, are the Eagles just destroying people and they're like 14-3, and the Niners are like win or lose, or we're just going to be the 3rd seed or something?
It's a good point. I wasn't really thinking about the rest of the league. I don't think there is going to be a like 15-2 or 14-3 NFC team. If I had like, I just don't think of an obvious one. Like, it seems like the Eagles would be the most likely choice for that, except I think the Eagles they're really good. Don't get me wrong, they're really good, but they're going to be playing first place schedule, getting everybody's best punch.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I don't know. I feel like the Eagles are still going to be good even if they take a step back this year. And I kind of think the Lions are toast. So I'm not worried about the
Ooh.
Lions. I feel like the Lions are going to end up being like, somewhere between 7 to 10 wins. I don't see them doing much
Oh
better.
man, they're not even making the playoffs. And is that what you're predicting?
Well, because here's the thing. I think the Packers are going to be good. I think the Vikings are going to be pretty good, and the Bears might be tough, or at least a tougher out. So I don't see the Lions like getting to feast on their division at all. I think every division game is going to be really, really tough for the Lions.
Do you think it is it because they lost their coordinators? Because their team is kind of the same.
Yeah, but their team being the same, like, they don't have a very good defense. I know they had a bunch of guys hurt last year, but that's another thing. So you got a bunch of guys coming back from being hurt. Are they all going to be at full strength? And yeah, I do think losing their coordinators is going to be tough. I mean, we've experienced that as Niner fans, right?
Yeah, yeah. No, I agree with you that that division is going to be really tough. I do wonder about the Vikings because it looks like they have a really good team, but like, can JJ McCarthy do it? We'll see.
I just think they're so well coached that they'll figure out ways to win games, even with, a quarterback that may be less than ideal.
Yeah, yeah, we'll see. So let's see. I got the Niners at what did we have them at the same record?
So I ended up at 12-5.
Okay, I had them losing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 12-5.
Now, a lot of this is based on my expectations for these other teams that they're playing. Like, they have the last place schedule. It should be easy, but who knows? Like, the Niners might be more of the team that they were last year than we care to admit. I don't think so. I think people are writing them off a little too early and not realizing just how injured they were and the little things like you talked about, the rest disadvantage and um, getting like everybody's best punch, Super Bowl hangover, how many straight years of having deep postseason runs, like just the invisible stuff that's hard to measure but that people always talk about. I feel like they had all of those intangibles working against them last year. And I mean, I hope that they can stay generally healthy. I know it's impossible to expect guys to be fully healthy for the entire season, but if you get 13 to 14 games of a healthy Trent Williams and you get a mostly healthy Christian McCaffrey, like just those two guys, not talking about anybody else, just having those two guys mostly available at full strength makes a huge difference for this team.
Yeah.
And I and that's considering losing the guys that they lost, because they already did last season without Dre. So it's not like we're going from having, peak Dre Greenlaw running around last year and still going 6-11.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the other thing is people have seen all these players leave in free agency and like, oh, the Niners lost all these players. And then you look at the players and it's like, well, only two of them were like real contributors, Mooney and Dre, and only one of those contributors actually played last season, and even that guy missed quite a few games last season. So
Well,
they didn't lose as much as people think.
here's the other thing that I feel like is going to be a sneaky benefit to the Niners. You will find, no bigger, well, you might find a bigger fan, but I love Debo. I've always loved Debo. I know that he fell off last year, but I still think on the whole, Debo's great, and I'm so glad that he was a Niner and whatever. So lots of good, positive things about Debo. Debo was getting featured way too much last year. So if they're not trying to force feed Debo the ball, whether that was Kyle doing it, whether that was Brock doing it, but if they're like truly taking more of what the defense is giving them and like calling plays based on what makes sense, I feel like that's going to actually help them a lot, because Debo was not the same player, and he hasn't been for a while, right? Like we've talked about it before. He's not 2021 Debo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So I guess I just sort of feel like that not having him is actually going to free up some stuff in the offense, and I feel like it's going to actually benefit them. I don't want to say addition by subtraction, but it is kind of that is what I'm getting at.
yeah. I mean, I agree. You have Trent and McCaffrey healthy, and you're not force feeding a player who's just not producing. It seems like it should be. I mean, I'm a Ricky Pearsall believer. So if they can get him and George and McCaffrey, the three white boys, going, and you know, Jawan Jennings is a dog, so
Oh man.
those guys should be able to hold us over just fine. And then once Ayuk gets back and he can really start stretching the field again, I don't see why this offense shouldn't be really good next year.
Yeah, I
And the
agree.
defense should be dramatically improved with all the D line help they just got. Um, we'll see if Nick Martin and Upton Stout can play. I think they can. So Robert
Well,
Sala, I mean, come
I
on.
mean, Saul is the biggest reason for optimism right there, I feel
Yeah.
like. And does Nick Martin really need to play? I mean, I hope so, that he's good and that he can get out there, but like this might be a fool's errand to bank on, but if D Winters actually can stay healthy, which I know, but what he has shown flashes of, like I got no problem with D Winters playing linebacker, a healthy D Winters out there.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm just not as high on D as you are. I'm really hoping Nick Martin can secure that spot this offseason and be that guy. D Winters can play the Sam linebacker, strong side. I would
And
rather have
I'm just
Nick.
I'm just saying that I don't think there's so much pressure on Nick Martin where it's like he's got to pan out or they're screwed. Like I think they have other guys that are serviceable.
Yeah, and hopefully like Curtis Robinson has healed his knee and we'll see what he can do. And
Is Grant?
they've got
What isn't that? What like
yeah, Jalen Graham is still there. Tatum Bethune is still there. They just got the Stone Blanton kid, the undrafted free agent. So there's bodies, but I'm hoping Nick Martin can win that spot. All right. Let's call it there. We got the Niners going 12-5 and winning the Super Bowl, right?
I hope so.
At home. We'll
that
see.
that'd be so cool. I
Even
wonder.
if
I
I
wonder
mean honestly,
what Chasen would pick. I'm I'm gonna say that Chasen would have said they were gonna go 4-13.
You think he's really pessimistic? He's just not
Yeah,
feeling it.
I'm well because he's not here to defend himself, so I'm just gonna put that out there. Like he would have found all these reasons for Niner L's.
I wonder if he would have gone the opposite and had him going like 15-2.
I think that's actually more likely, but
I was gonna say, no matter who's playing in the Super Bowl, hopefully it's the Niners. I wouldn't mind because it's local. I wouldn't mind going down there and just walking around and seeing all the football stuff like we did in New Orleans. That was fun.
I'm kind of thinking about that too. Like, I mean, for me, it'd be a great opportunity to take the kids. Like, I don't think I would go on Super Bowl Sunday, but like,
Yeah.
it's gonna be around. Like, they're old enough to appreciate the stuff more. Like, yeah, I think that would be awesome to go check it out.
And one last thing, I forgot to ask you this: is there a game here, home or away, that you're looking at like, let's go to that one?
I always want to find an away game, just because I think it would be a lot of fun to do like a road trip Niner game. So that's what I always gravitate towards. And then I also think about like where would I like to go? Like what would be a
Mm-hmm.
visit? Um, I will say that there's nothing in terms of the road games that like gets me excited just about the location.
You know
Um,
what's one I wouldn't mind, just to throw it out there, is I would love to be a part of the Levi South takeover,
yes,
but I don't want to go to a Thursday night road game.
exactly right. I feel the exact same way. Like it would be fun to see a game down there and see them take it over.
I
But
would
yeah,
love to see that stadium too because it looks incredible.
Thursday night, I don't really want to go to a Thursday night game, uh, honestly. but that would probably be the most likely road game. Um,
I mean, I think we've done this before, but what about this guy up here?
so I've never been to a Niner Seahawk game in Seattle. I've been to a
Oh,
bunch.
really?
I know you and Chasen have. Yeah, so that one always intrigues me. I would love to do it eventually. So that might be the one. If there was a road game. As far as the home games go, like what game would I love to see? I always kind of go towards like teams that I've never got to see play, in person. The one that kind of gets me the most excited would be the Bears. I've not seen them play the Bears. I think that would be a fun game. It's a Sunday night game. It's right after Christmas, before New Year's, so I could see that one being really fun.
Yeah, I agree. I think we talked about maybe going to the Bears game last year too. I
Yeah.
wouldn't mind this game right here.
No,
Week
that
10, home against the Rams.
yeah. Yeah, that would be a good one too.
I don't think I've seen the Rams, and I wouldn't mind seeing Stafford or Jimmy get their ass kicked.
Another one that might be fun just because they don't come around that often and I've not seen them play in person is the Jaguars. So I don't necessarily think that will be like the best quality game, but it could be a fun one to watch early in the year. And maybe you could get tickets for a reasonable price. I don't know.
Yeah, uh, I'm not opposed to that either. Go see Travis Hunter, and weather California late September. It's still going to be pretty warm. So, all right,
So yeah,
cool. We'll have to
I've
get Jason's opinion on what he thinks.
I've seen the Cardinals, obviously. I've seen the Falcons, I've seen the Rams, I've seen the Titans, I've seen the Seahawks. So yeah, to me the ones
What
that
about the Texans game?
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know that I really want to go to Houston. Like
Yeah, I
that.
don't know that I do either. And like going to New York, I've never been to New York. It'd be cool to see New York, but do I want to go all the way to New York to see a 10 a.m. Giants game? I don't think so.
So that one intrigues me a little bit just because I have never, well, no, I've seen him play the Giants, but just be kind of cool to go see a game there. And I've never been to New York. So if
Me
there was a,
neither. Yeah.
if there was a way to make like a trip out of it and get to stay there, then cool. I would be into it. But just to go across the country for a game, I don't know. That seems like a lot.
Yeah, I agree. All right, that's good. We
All
will
right.
call it there.
So we'll see you at the Bears game or maybe the Jags.
Maybe both.
Ooh, now you're
All
talking. All right.
right.
Have
See
a
you
good
later.
one. Bye.